33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
okay,
like
that. Stop. Tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here. Show me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Mulgat for KelownaNow. And we're joined by Doug Gilchrist, the newly anointed city manager for the city of Kelowna. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, Kent.
It's a big job.
It is. I'm excited about it.
24/7. You know, when I talked to Ron Matuzzi as he was on his way out, you know, he talked about how, you know, this position is one that you can't put to bed at the end of the day, right? So, you know, you're taking that on as well, but you're feeling good about that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I spent the last little while trying to disconnect from my phone, spend more time with my family and my wife, and now I've got to reestablish that relationship with my phone and be well connected to it
right.
with all the departments I now have. So.
And you've got buy-in from your family members that you're
Absolutely.
going to be maybe a little more distracted than you were prior to taking this on.
Yeah. No, we've actually been planning for the potential for this for some time, and the family's all well set up, and expectations are there, and my wife is very accommodating and flexible, so we're good.
Right. So the city went through a 4-month process looking at people from all over the place and ended up hiring someone from their own midst. So I guess there's advantages to that. You know the players?
Yeah, I think for me, trying to differentiate myself from others, certainly a part of that was to acknowledge the deep-rooted relationships I have in the city and in the province. I've been here 14 years in Kelowna, and coming from the Lower Mainland, I still have some connections there that I had when I was there. At various parts of the provincial government and federal government as well. So I think that was of some value to council in making their decision. You know, fresh eyes is helpful too to come in, but I think I have a bit of an objective view of the city and question things enough that being an internal candidate doesn't take away from that at all.
Right. Now, I know that a city manager or any staff member works at the behest of council, but do you come to the job with your own vision of Kelowna and where it's going?
Well, my vision is the community vision. I mean, my job in part is to deliver on council's priorities, which in turn are the community's priorities. So I have that obligation to deliver on council's priorities, which change from term to term. And then the other side is corporate priorities. So what vision do I have around the corporation? Yeah, certainly I have some ideas around how the corporation can improve from my own perspective. But that'll be influenced by my senior leadership team
right.
and listening and learning as I go along.
Right. There is a bit of back and forth, though, that you see, like just in the form of recommendations coming back to the city on things like density.
Sure.
There was this recent one in the sort of Pandosy Village where the city, even outside of, you know, the current zoning, suggesting, yes, going higher makes sense. So there is, I guess, some opportunity for you know, the staffer's view on what to do with density does come back.
Yeah, there'll be times where the senior leadership group or members leading a division will come to me for advice and direction on certain things that are their purview as a sounding board more than anything. What's my perspective on things? How do I think this will resonate with council or the community? But we have specialists in each of those areas. So, you know, we have or will have a city planning director permanently in place in my old position at some point. We have a fire chief. We have, you know, I'll rely on the experts. Right. They often say the city manager loses all power when he takes the seat because you're no longer the direct decision maker. It's the team, right. The team in front of you that really delivers the services.
And the city of Kelowna is big enough to be like that, right?
Absolutely.
But I do think of you, I remember you when you were a proponent of the CD21 vision for downtown that ultimately was rejected by a new council that came on at the time. But I sort of sense that your view is kind of pro-density, like you like the tall buildings.
Well, certainly from a planning perspective, I would say I have a progressive approach to that, yeah. Urban densification and modernization of our city in that realm, I think, is definitely the way to go. Council's support of that, much of the current thinking in the planning world is around that type of design. And we have to do it carefully and sensitively. And we're spending a lot of time trying to make sure we do it right.
It's an exciting time in that regard right now.
Questionably.
You counted even more than I thought. It were around a dozen. It's more like 20 plus high rises that are currently in the at least request stage?
Yeah, and I say the number cautiously because how many get applied for and how many get built are often different depending on the real estate and the development cycle. But yeah, we have a significant movement in our city towards many of the things that are currently in OCP policy, right? Official community plan takes time to germinate, people to get accustomed to it, and then the developers to assemble land and move towards those policy outcomes. But this densification is something that's been in the OCP for quite some time, and now we're seeing it happen because we're going through a significant development cycle.
It is an exciting time, though, to be sort of put it at the helm, so to speak, when all of this is going on.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of a better job or a better place to do this job, but quite frankly. It's incredibly exciting, and I think we've got a really great diversity of talent in the city right now to advance a lot of that work.
So we've got all these exciting things happening, and many would say positive, but at the same time, there's some big problems in the city right now dealing with the homeless population, and we see little bits and pieces to try to solve it. And we have this task force that sort of claims the goal of truly resolving it. I don't think that's ever going to happen fully, but that'll be an issue that probably dogs you going forward.
Yeah, certainly homelessness and the cost of housing in our community is a big issue. And that's why we went to the extent of creating a mayor's task force and going through the Journey Home process. And in parallel, a healthy housing strategy. So we get two sides of that equation there, the market housing and the non-market or subsidized housing. And it's going to take everyone stepping up. You know, I can't think of more important partners than the provincial government at the housing level through BC Housing and at the health level through the various health-related ministries. It's going to take everybody to step up and acknowledge it as a community challenge to get there to solve it. And it doesn't rest with any one entity or any one function. It's not just an enforcement issue. It's not just a city issue. It's going to take all the players. Right.
So do you come to this job with how do you see yourself in terms of your management style?
Well, I really enjoy working with creative and innovative people. So those staff that push the envelope on the status quo and come up with new ways of doing things and getting things across the line are the type of people that I really enjoy working with. And when I have that environment, I think I'm pretty loose. I'll let people run with their ideas and kind of support them to get there.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people who start projects. There's not a lot of people who finish them. So those who can get things across the line in our environment are really special, and I really enjoy working with those kind of people.
So what's your biggest worry right now about the direction the city's going?
You know, I'm really comfortable. I think I've come in at an excellent time. We have a lot of really solid base plans. You know, we have the Journey Home strategy. We have a healthy housing or healthy city strategy, a new ag plan. There's some really good base work to build upon. And now it's about delivery, you know, delivering a lot of those things. So I'm really comfortable and excited about the direction. Obviously, the addiction problem that plagues our country is something that's relevant in Kelowna today that we have to make sure we put the appropriate resources to. We've got to solve that problem. That's a big one. And probably the other one that's of interest more corporately than community-based is digital service delivery. You know, we really need to continue to advance on delivering services in more technologically advanced ways and utilizing our tech sector to help do it. You know, we have our innovation building and Accelerate Okanagan, and really leveraging that. Both of our universities, we've got a lot of talent here outside of just our own staff that we can utilize to deliver more interesting.
So hang on, back up. You using more technology to communicate with the public?
No, not just communicate. I mean, that's part of it, but to solve our challenges, doing data analytics to have more informed decisions of council, more informed recommendations and ultimately decisions of council, delivering services digitally, things that people come to City Hall for. They don't need to come to City Hall anymore. I remember Ron and I talking about years ago about City Hall in the mall. Take the service to where the people are. As opposed to having them come for services. So maybe breaking the mold a little bit on some of the traditional ways we deliver service.
Right. So, but you're not going in to shake it all up?
Not at all. No, that wasn't the mandate of council. I think council's mandate was that they believe we're on a good path. Hopefully I can bring some renewed energy and passion to public service delivery. But I think they're open to some bold and innovative ways of doing that.
Going to be exciting. Thanks, Doug.
Thanks very much,
you coming in.
Appreciate
nice to
it.
start this relationship. We'll bring you back in when
Anytime.
maybe when something goes wrong.
Great.
Or maybe when something goes well too. Appreciate it, Doug.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.